Peace, peace. What's going on, YouTube family? How are you, man? Um, all right, so I know you're probably really surprised right now if you're a subscriber and you just got the notification that Republic of America just went live. You're like, wait, what? Because I've been really inactive on this account, I guess you could say. But it was amazing to see that the views and people were still viewing the content. I guess that's what you create, kind of like a vacuum. Um, if you oversaturate and you have too much content, then you kind of diminish and people don't get to see everything. Some things just get lost, fall through the cracks. So there's things that they probably would never even watch. But the fact that I had limited the amount of new content that was coming out and people noticed that, they kept rewatching the old content, which is apparent from the amount of views. Like one of the videos, I think is authenticating the birth certificate. It's got like 11,000. Well, this is probably old. I haven't checked in a minute, but it had like 11,000 views on it. Um, so that's a great thing because then they can take it in, they can study and rewatch it, rewatch and rewatch it. You keep putting out new content, it diminishes what you're bringing. Um, let me see. All right, somebody's in the chat. Mike Lee, what's up, Mike? All right. So this is what I want to get to. I want to break down something that's very important because a lot of people, I just see from like the amount of how you say it, the amount of people who were learning in this, and I went back, in my memories, and I realized that sorry about that. I realized that a lot of the things that people were teaching were actually wrong, and so I see it when I'm interacting with people either on a post or sometime people are what do you call it, just commenting on something and you just read what they're saying, like it doesn't make sense or it's not accurate. It's like, no, that's not how it goes. Even sometimes when I get consultations, some of the things that they're asking me to do in the consultation, I'm like, wait, I'm not promising. No, not even promising. I'm not teaching that. I'm not guaranteeing that because that's one way you can hurt your brand, your image, is by, they get on there and they're like, all right, so I want to use my bond and set it off and discharge and be able to discharge debts with the treasury, blah blah blah. And it's like, whoa, no, that's not what we're doing. Like I'm giving you some actual things that you can actually do in real time, and tell them all about this. And then it's like they kind of get turned off a little bit because they don't want to deal with it in that format, or they're really hooked on this dream, um, which I understand. I was there as well when I first started out. So it was like I was chasing that thing hard, like just trying to be able to discharge bills, send it to the treasury, certified mail, and all that, and just trying to get all that done. Never happened. None of it never happened. So, so this one today, I'm gonna break down something real important. Is so when we're in a transaction, consumer transaction, um, a lot of us, even especially from the paper, and the paper that's pushed across the table, and they put the X on the contract where they want you to sign because they're controlling this transaction, I guess you could say. So um, I'm not sure if the person that you're in that transaction with actually knows, or they are part of what they're calling. If you look this up, sometimes I just posted something earlier on Facebook where it called it a scheme. So it technically is a scheme. I'm not sure if they're part of the scheme or they're just innocent third parties that's doing the job. But you're signing in the wrong place. And let me see. So down in the chat. So if you look this up in the chat, where is it? All right, so it's called USC 356. If you go look up United States Code Title 12 USC 356, you will see that actually the bank. Let me pull this up so I can look at the same time. All right. Let's see. Okay. So I got it pulled up. This is on Cornell Law School. So it's again, it's Title 12 USC 356, purchase of commercial paper from member banks and sale of same. So for those, like I always try to make the videos where it's for people who are just starting out, they might not know the information, and for people who are very advanced in their learning. So commercial paper is pretty much anything. It doesn't need to be on bond paper. People are, mistaken that it needs to be on a certain bond, written on a certain angle. Um, what do you call it? Like different. It doesn't need to be any of that. Just a plain piece of paper will suffice. Just what's this? 20 weight. Um, just regular paper. So on that, that can be commercial paper, depending on the value on it and the amount for you to sign in commercial capacity. That can be sold. It has a value to it, especially like I said. Say if this is either a mortgage or a promissory note for buying a house, one is going to have value added to it, to that paper. It's going to say this we lent and you borrowed 256,000, whatever it may be, and then it says for value received. So for value received, those words right there are very crucial because that is the actual consideration um, for that contract. And it doesn't have to be an exchange of like handing big wads of money. No, that right there is you signing a testing that you received 256,000 in credit. All right. So it says from member banks. So member banks is any banks like Bank of America, Capital One, all these banks. Those are member banks. The ones that their charter is on file with the OCC. So it doesn't have to be registered individually in the state. Member banks are totally different. So it says commercial paper, purchase of commercial paper. The Federal Reserve is purchasing this paper from member banks. So I'm going to read it right here in this code. It says every Federal Reserve bank shall have power to purchase from member banks and to sell. See, they're purchasing it from the bank. So when you get it, if you even look in your contract, the contract states that we may, I think it says we may in our discretion, sell the account or the loan, or they don't say the note. Sometimes they say the note. Um, so they are able to purchase this from member banks, and then the Federal Reserve is able to sell with or without endorsement. So most times, I'm going to say probably 100% of the time, most consumers and transactions are endorsing these instruments, checks, negotiable instruments, whatever, in blank, which is it's very bad. You always want to do a special or a restricted endorsement. So it says with or without its endorsement, bill of exchange arising out of commercial transactions, which I just stated, as here in before defined. And this has been in effect since the passing of the Federal Reserve Act. So it's dated December 23rd, 1913, which when the Federal Reserve Act was enacted. So um, I'm going to go over and walk you through what I was just saying in the beginning of this, of um, of how we aren't the borrower. Um, they are actually the borrower. The lender would be the factor who buys the note and gives the cash advance. So they become the lender to the borrower, which is the third person in the transaction with you, not you. This is actually something that's going on between them because they received an advance. So there's another code. Let me see if it's right behind this. I think. Um, no, it's not that. Just for, oh, that's where it's at. It's it's three. It's Title 12 USC 347. All right. So I'll put this in the chat again, unless you want to do that, Mike, while I'm working on this. 347. is advances to member banks on their notes. So it says any Federal Reserve Bank may make advances for periods not exceeding 15 days to its member banks on their promissory notes secured by the deposit or pledge of bonds, notes, certificates, or certificates of indebtedness, or treasury bills of the United States, or by the deposit or pledge of debentures or other such obligations for federal immediate credit banks which are eligible for purchase by the Federal Reserve Bank. It says under Section 350 of this title, or by the deposit or pledge of bonds issued under the provisions of subsection C of Section 1463. So once you see this, this is showing you that they are able to, the notes are collateral and they actually have a cash value to them, which is a sign right on the face. It's whatever the face of that note is. If you're buying a car, it's 27,000, 56,000, 86,000, whatever it is. That face value is the amount that the bank could get advanced minus a discount because it's called discounting notes. So automatically off the top, the person that's going to take and sell the note or certificate of indebtedness to a trust or an investor, which is usually going to be held in trust, they discount it by 20%. So you're only getting 80% of the face value. Um, so all in every transaction, the note or debenture or certificate of indebtedness, the letter of credit, all these things are always deposited. Everything begins with a deposit. A deposit creates an account, which is actually a demand account. Um, it's not set up like that. It's not structured that way because a lot of things I notice when I tell people this and they start asking questions and they think it's like an easy like 1, 2, 3 step of getting this done, and it's not. It's really about enforcing it and educating uh, your officials that are on the phone with whoever you're talking to. Usually, you want to go higher because, like I said, you're going to get to the back office, somebody to talk to. Once you're explaining and instructing them and enforcing what is their laws, this is literally their laws. This is, the United States Code, Cornell law. This is law. This is what they have to follow. So they get away with not following it because we don't know it and we can't enforce what we don't know. So I'm gonna read this right here. It says, who is the lender? Who is the borrower? The lender. This is the person or entity that lends a certain amount of money, and follow how it says, certain amount of money on credit to an applicant. So you're thinking that you're the applicant. The real applicant is a third party in that transaction who is called the maker. He's the maker of the note. He's putting it before you and putting X in, sign here, sign here. Da, 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 da. He is the applicant because what he's doing is you're filling this out because you want that car right there on the lot. And, they're telling you they're taking it back, they're washing it up for you, or you're at the table, you're to buy a house. You're distracted by that. You're looking at that. You think that's what's going on in this situation. No, he's trying to get this face value note and he's trying to up the amount like this. When you're in a car dealership, you're going to different rooms. There's like different hats they're putting on and they're trying to upsell you. So they're like, oh, you want the extended warranty? Oh, do you want the platinum package? It comes with coating for the seats and for the outside of the vehicle for scratches and all the stuff like this. They're trying to sell you. Do you want mag wheels? We can change those out. Do you want all these things? It's just like you're at a restaurant and you're ordering your meal and they're trying to upcharge you. Okay, well you can sub that out for 8 ounce sirloin for extra $15. This type of drink, or we have Patron instead. Same thing is going on in that transaction. They're upping the sell because they're upping the dollar amount on the face value of that note. So that's what's going on. So the applicant is actually dumb. This is a securities transaction, and they are the applicant who is trying to get this note, get the value up high, and then, like I said, because it's being discounted by 20 cents. So you can look that up. It's discounting of notes or note discounting. It's called. Um, so it says a certain amount of money on credit to an applicant. Now, didn't I just show you from um, 12 USC code 347 advances to member banks on their notes? That's what I just said. So they're getting advances from the Federal Reserve. not us. They're getting an advance. So they are the applicant who is the borrower. It says it right here in the definition. Who must repay the amount borrowed. But they put you on hook. They swapped the whole hats in the arrangement and gave it to you, the lender and borrower. All right, you're the borrower, so you're borrowing, and you rightfully in your mind because of how we've been educated, thinking that you are borrowing because like obviously, duh, there's a scat, what is it? A Hellcat right there. It's 100,000. I know this man's gonna give it to me for free. So yeah, he's loaning me the money, which you never saw, never got, but you just know if you follow the process, sign these documents, sign all that, show your driver's license, you will drive off with that car under the illusion that now I'm going to be making payments every month for 7 years at this rate and this interest rate. And all of that is wrong. Those terms are applicable again to the applicant, which isn't you. So I've just made clear. If you have any questions, type in the chat. There's a couple of people on here with me. So they trade in place. So it says who must repay the amount borrowed because they got an advance. So an advance is not a grant; it's something that must be repaid because it got an advance. So that advance says must repay the amount borrowed plus the interest agreed upon in the contract, which is what I just said. The finance charge, it says with a predetermined time frame, which is usually it'll be 24 months, 36 months, or 60 months. All these things. So that is actually the borrower. The lender is the person, which is called a factor. A factor is the lender in actuality. But look, getting back to this code, and this is going to be more technical and complicated. But in actuality, the lender is the Federal Reserve. Because remember, they're taking the notes or certificates of indebtedness to them, and they are what you call it. They're getting an advance for it to come back to the loan, come back to the table to pay that party off, and then get the notes from them. Because the note is a sign. Assigned always means sale. Because these words can trick you out until you realize they're synonymous. So an assignment is a sale. Sale of what? It wasn't the sale of the car, which we're thinking. It wasn't the sale of the house. It wasn't the sale of the boat. It wasn't the sale of the motorcycle. None of these things. Could you hold on 1 minute? I'm just flick over to this other browser and put something over here. So I'm not sure if you can still see me, but I will keep talking to let you know that I am here. Um, and yeah, just dropping something on my other on my social media so that people want to join the live feed, they can. All right, so let me get back on camera. Hopefully, if I'm still on camera, I wasn't sure if I disappeared or not. Not sure how that works, but I'm going to learn something when I go back and watch the replay. Peace, what's up, Brandy? Man, I ain't seen you in like a minute. Is you even on the book anymore? All right. So so far from what I dropped, if this brought clarity to you or you understand it as I presented it, let me know in the chat. To say I got it. Okay, so does it make perfect sense? Because again, like this is some of the stuff, like I said, that we've been taught, man, over the years, and it's just in my own capacity, and I see others on here that are doing it too. But we have to go and correct this and get the the state of mind correct so you can get remedy. Because a lot of people who probably have called people in the past scammers and whatever this stuff, it's just a matter of we have to correct your thinking, restructure it in a pyramid, get that going, and then going forward, you will get your remedy because now you know how to enforce. But you have to understand the transaction as it actually happened, not the illusion, because these people are illusionists. When you went into the dealer and they got you all, they're wearing their suits, they got the best cologne on, cufflinks. They're offering you a macchiato, depending on where you're at. Like I went in on a Lexus dealer, and the way this place is laid out, it looks like Bruce Wayne's cigar lounge or library or something. Like this place look incredible, like cherry wood, big desk, and all this stuff. So you're just blown by all this going on. It's just magic. you know. Um, and like I said, they're coming out depending on where you're going. If you're buying at Benz, if you're buying at Ferrari, you're going to be treated a certain way to keep the illusion. It's all an illusion, a prestige that is distracting you from all these things I just told you. And in the beginning, I didn't realize it when I went into dealers and started buying cars, and I saw that, first you're sitting out in front and you just at that regular table and you and the car salesman, and then usually he'd be like, all right, so have you figured out which one you're here for? And you tell him, he'll go get the keys, get the drive out tag, he get the dealer tag, but let's go take it for a ride. And now when he comes back with you, well, he's already got your driver's license. That's the first thing he's going to do. He's going to go make a copy of it, hand it back to you, put that on file. Now, I'm going to give more clarity in this video. What he actually got from you when he got your driver's license, it was not proof that you're licensed to drive a vehicle on the road. That wasn't it at all. That driver's license is actually, it should, in essence, and I'm going to say it like that, work like a credit card. And I don't have mine on me, but we all know that on the back of our driver's license, there's a barcode, like a swipe code, like when you swipe into work or any of those other things. There are times I was making a purchase the other day. I don't know if this is yesterday or the day before, and this was odd. But I was making a tax exempt purchase, and the lady asked for my ID card, my driver's license or my ID. So she took it, which is crazy. So she scanned the barcode on the back. And what just like with these QR codes and all that stuff, it's how you say it's like a database for your biometric data. Because data is actually the value in this whole system that we're in. This monetary system that we're in, data is actually valuable. People want to know, where do you live, what's your date of birth, what's your favorite color, what's your mom's maiden name. All these things have a commercial interest to them. They have a commercial value to them. And your email, your telephone number, all of these things. Your email is an account number, your telephone number is an account number. And that's why, yeah, like I'll give you an example. There's a restaurant that I like to eat at a lot. um, and when you call in, of course they can see your phone number. So or sometimes I think, do they ask for my number, or sometimes they just pretty much assume, so they see your number. All my orders are tied to my phone number. So they'll be like, okay, they'd be like, and is this Ali? And I'll be like, yeah. And they'd be like, okay, would you like to reorder the same thing? I love that feature, because it was like for months, I was always having to get, because I'm always getting it, how you say it? It's like custom, my order. So I'm like, I'm getting this, but take this, up that, get this, get that. And sometimes it's time consuming, because I'm doing something. I'm in the middle of two or three different things, but I got to stop. I want to order food so I can eat, in a little bit or whatever. And then one day, lady picked up the phone. I don't know why they weren't doing this sooner. She said, "Oh, great! I see here you had the so and so last time. Would you like it the same way?" And then she named out all my substitutions and modifications. I was like, "Yes." I said, "So you can see everything I ordered?" And she says, "Yeah, I think it keeps a queue of a certain amount. So I guess as it keeps going down, some fall off. I could be wrong, but it probably has everything you've ever eaten there." And they can sell that information because it's valuable, because people want to know your eating habits, your household size, because they see you ordering 5 entrees in there, so they can figure that out. um, what other businesses that they can create. So now they'd be like, they might market to you, "Oh, we just opened a new business that has the same type of food that you usually eat, and it's open right in your area because they got your zip code." So all this data is very important. And it's funny, I've touched on this in the past, but I'll say it again. When we think of credit reporting agencies like TransUnion, Equifax, LexisNexis, Experian, they are not what was it? Consumer reporting agencies. They are not. They are data resellers. That is their whole purpose, is for becoming a big database to get all your information. which is given to them from third parties. Because, like I said, when you did that car transaction, they turn over the account and all the information. So now they have all that information there. So they have nothing to do with the scoring, and I want to say that loosely, because of course they say they hold a FICO score for you, and credit worthiness is a part of you leaving off the lot with that car or getting the keys to that house and all that stuff, and that's absolutely not true. All this stuff, even with one of the things, the first thing I think that drew me to this information in the beginning was the right to travel, the right to drive, stuff, the right to travel. Um, so there's so much truth in that. And, they came up with this whole term, the whole sovereign citizen, um, to get us off of that path of what is just common sense. Even when we start looking it up in Black's Law and looking it up, driver is a commercial term. It is someone who carries cargo or people um, to a specified place or destination for, or I guess in exchange for payment. So driver is a commercial term. A driver's license, again, is a commercial term. This was something that I learned that makes it easy to beat traffic violations and tickets. I'm not sure if this is in every um, constitution, so I want you to know that this is for you to do your due diligence. I'm not going to do all that for you. But I went in the Florida Constitution, and it names all the courts that the Constitution of that state gave the delegation of authority to create, and it names them because law is specific. It's not saying, it doesn't say like all the courts or something like that. It can be ambiguous or vague. It named them, it named the counties and everything, the circuit, um, small claims, everything. I think small claims might even be out of the loop because it's not constitutional, because some things require a trial, a trial by jury and stuff like that. And a lot of the contracts that we sign have waiver um, clauses where we waive the right to demand a jury trial. Um, but on it named all the courts, right? And then it said, and it hadn't got to traffic court. It named all the courts, and then it got to the bottom, and it said, and no other courts may be erected in the state. Like, you probably didn't say the word erect, but it was saying that it doesn't authorize any other courts. So that's why, if you look at it, um, traffic is its own jurisdiction, and they're dealing with their own rules. And it's crazy when you look at the tickets, it's still saying state of Florida versus you. And they have no authority to represent it because the state's authority comes from the Constitution. And the Constitution did not authorize a traffic court. So this goes hand in hand with the license. With the license, what is what I'm telling you, it's a commercial document. It's damn near an American Express card. It's got credit on it. That account number has all your bonds united in one. It's damn near like the gauntlet with the Infinity Stones. Everything is in that card that has a commercial value to it. So and get past what, Bryce? What was your question specifically? Um, so so it didn't authorize that court to have the authority to operate. And that's why another thing I found out, like, so we learned these things, and we just started, with our chest out. We run up in course, and we like, all right, I need to see your oath of office, judge. And then one of the funny things is sometimes they don't correct you, is they are actually not judges. They are hearing officers. And in most cases, they are civilians. They're not public officials. So they are not required to have an oath on file. Because remember, this is a de facto, um, uh, I guess, I'm trying to think of the actual word, but a de facto arena that you're in. That's why most times they're not even held in a courthouse or something like that. There's, I know there was one, and this was in Tampa. that where you went for traffic tickets was in the city hall. It wasn't in the courthouse. So stuff like this is just showing you even more of what I'm saying. And the reason for it is because most times when you're getting pulled over for traffic tickets, I'm not going to say that sheriffs don't do that, but most times it's up to the whatchamacallit, the municipal organization for that city. Because cops, and I just learned this recently, but just pulling all information together, cities have police officers, boroughs have police officers. So all these people, so it makes sense where that thing is up under the in the city hall. Because literally, if you look, like I said, you look at all police, you're like, oh, I hate the so and so police from so and so city, borough. Forgot the other one that there's here. Temple is Temple Terrace. I don't know if it's a city, um, but all cities have cops, so they're under their city charter, and the authority lies under the mayor for the city. So that's why I said it's in City Hall. It doesn't have constitutional authority to be over in the courthouse, where the other courts did have actual constitutional authority given by the Constitution. So right there, you can challenge them because it's basically by consent. Especially that's why they always give you an amount to pay, and so you could just pay it, mail it in to some old third party corporation, or it'd be like Tampa.gov or Tampa.com or something like that. It's a whole business, something else for Tampa, nothing to do with the state of. Um, so by just paying, you consented and agreed to all terms, which you actually did even in your license. You agreed to abide by the laws and so on, so that's why it's kind of crazy to be sitting there challenging jurisdiction on the road with the cop. That's why one of the first things they ask you for: license, registration, insurance. Your license is proof that you agreed. If you sometimes you read it on your license, it says it. It says like even the same thing for a alcohol test, for a blow test. You having that license in your hand, or the cop having it now in his hand on his clipboard, it is proof that you agreed to submit to one. Refusal to, which is a breach of contract, the contract that you made, and that's why they can charge you, and automatically you're just getting your license suspended and probably locked up. So um, these are the things you want to understand about the license in general. So let me see. Take the dash. So the borrowers are the finance company and or the lender. Yes, but not the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve is the lender. The borrower is the third party in your transaction. Because usually the person you're dealing with in front of you has no skin in the game. Like when really started thinking this all through, the cars on the dealership lot, especially when they're new, they don't belong to the dealer. They're fronted on consignment on like a net, I don't know, net 6 months or something. It's probably something big. It's not 90 days. Um, so that person right there trying to sell you the car don't even own these. That's why the titles are there's no title. There's only an MSO, manufacturer's certificate of origin, is what exists on that car. That's the true ownership in equity. It's the highest title. So once you buy the car, now they send the MSO to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and in exchange, they keep that and give you an abstract of it, which is the certificate of title. So you'll get that, and it's been watered down. It's an abstract of it, the MSO. So it says, "Good evening, brother person. Remember the documents is your court. The courthouse is actually on paper." Absolutely, because and people misunderstand when I start bringing talks of the Bible into it. I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not none of that stuff. But think about this. I'm gonna draw you there real quick. When you're in the courtroom and the judge says, "Need to swear you in," what are you getting? You're getting a Bible. Put your hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. So the Bible is a law book. That is why it is in the courthouse. It's in the judge's chambers. So, question. So yeah, you're absolutely right, because in the Bible, Scripture says that the church is not a house built with man's hands. So it's absolutely, it says that your body is the temple. So the same thing you're saying here, I agree with. You're saying that the court is on paper because in civil matters, especially with appeals, there is no, it's not a court of record. Civil is not a court of record, only criminal under the Constitution. So the only record that they can review on appeal from civil matters like foreclosures, lawsuits, negligence, car accidents, claims, all those is whatever was filed. It's the only thing they get to review. So those appeals usually move pretty fast because they don't have any. There's no transcripts to order. There's no long transcripts to read. It's just the paperwork and the documents that were submitted. So you're absolutely right on that. Yes, they are. To James Taylor, yeah, yes, they are. I'm had big clients child support case by bringing it into judge's chamber. Um, and Mike, is that bringing in the license into the judge's chamber? So the borrower's a finance company and the lender is Federal Reserve. Pure, that is absolutely correct. Let me see if I could pin this. Yeah, I can. So I'm gonna pin this because you are absolutely correct. All right. So can we appeal arbitration with trial de novo? I think arbitration is a final decision. There's no appeal of decision. You can't overturn the arbitrator's decision, especially not court. You can't go from arbitration back into a court and have the court overturn it because they're two separate things. It's equity and law. You can't mix them really. Um, says Bryce, can we appeal? All right, so that was the same question for Bryce. So it was a child support case. No, but you said you brought it into the judge's chamber. It says, um, Mike, what did you bring in? So I beat a client's $40,000 child support case by bringing it in the judge's chambers. Bring the case into the chambers, or bring what? Um, let's see, prolific 308.4 without prejudice, seeing that traffic violation under the line or sign it under the line. I mean, sometimes that work. I have had a situation where that actually worked. I filed the paperwork into. I'm assuming it might have been civil. I can't remember if it was civil or criminal. And I signed. It was like a one-page document someone had online or something. I filed that, and it said reservation of all rights. And I guess it's pretty powerful. The judge kept ignoring it, and then he also asked me, "What does it mean?" Because they're going to test you. They don't just roll over. He wanted to see because a lot of people can go on the internet and you can type in and get anything and file in the court and come to court like, yeah, you got to get rid of it. And the judge, he he's making a lot of money here. So if you think he's just going to roll over because you filed or signed UCC 1308.4 without prejudice, no, he's going to test you. It says I am arbitrating for breach of contract and lack of consideration. If I lose that, I can file another case for security fraud. You probably can, Bryce, but the problem with security fraud is there's usually no private right of action. Everything the the Secretary of the SEC is empowered to act on your behalf and pursue claims. So you would first have to make a claim with them and probably with the state AG. But there's no private right of action, which means you can't just go into court and do a security fraud case on your own. It says, how do you get around the court fees? Is that in the Bill of Rights? Yeah, it's actually in most cases it said that court shall be without delay. Let me get the exact thing. Court. All right, let me see. All right, so this is just in mind, but I think it's in all constitutions. So I'm gonna say think. I don't want to say anybody wasn't in mind. The Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 21 provides that the court shall be open to every person for redress of any injury, and justice shall be administered without sale. So without sale, it's without cost. You said court cost. Denial, can't deny me, or delay. And this is one of the things that when you're getting arrested, no matter what time of day or night it is, you're supposed to ask or demand to be brought immediately before a magistrate. And there's always should be access to one. There's always, trust me, there's someone that you could be brought to. The other judge might be sleeping and might come into work the next day, or you get locked up on a Friday night. And cops love to say this to you is that, oh, well, you're going to be in for the weekend because there's no judge in until Monday. And if there's a holiday, even more screwed because it won't be in until Tuesday. So you got to start using your constitution. You need to know your constitution frontwards and backwards. There's certain sections you won't have to study actually, because they're not applicable in some situations unless you're dealing with an exact situation in one part of the constitution. Um, it says, what about medical malpractice? City gal, what's going on? What do you mean? Expand for me. Does it matter where we start our paperwork, or should we start the paperwork from the state we were born in? Nah, you don't start from where you're born. Because one thing about contracts, the address that is on the contract, and especially when they set it up and it'll say state of, and then it says county of, that will determine and it governs the law of the contract. So no, it has nothing to do with the state you were born in. This is stuff they were teaching me back in 2014 to go back, file UCC one, and the state would you think it does nothing for you if you're not there anymore. Because then they would say like file UCC one where you were born and one where you currently reside. It usually says wherever you may have property. So if you have property in like multiple states, you would file a claim in UCC one on the property to protect them. But now that I'm so studied and going past that, I wouldn't even advise that. I would just literally draft a trust and have that trust protect those assets. It says, hi, I had a ring of dentists cover their mistakes until I was destroyed. Um, I don't know. It looks like you said more than that, but it's like dot dot dot. I don't still can't understand what you're asking. So I had a ring of dentists cover their mistakes. Oh, until it was destroyed, maybe. I don't know. But that's definitely negligence, malpractice. You got a couple suits. One of the things you're going to have to do, and it could be costly, is you're going to have to start subpoenaing some of those things, and you're going to have to do that through a court proceeding. You can't just, it has to be tied to something. You can't just go out and subpoena something. So you're going to have to file a claim or a counterclaim, whatever it is, and then request specific. Because I just read this other day, you can't be broad and general and ambiguous about what it is that you're trying to subpoena. Because then, even if they say they might not respond, say we don't know how to respond because it's ambiguous. So you have to be very specific of the production of documents you're requesting. I sent my notices and then filed a claim with OCC. If lose this case, I was going to file with the SEC, then going from there. That's a lot of suits. I would just add the again, but I still don't understand why you're filing your breach of contract with the SEC. Again, are you trying to sue the SEC, or you want them to work on your behalf? And most times, it still would be in a capacity of a what do you call that thing? Class action, as they usually work on behalf of multiple people. Totally specific, and it's all done. All right. So is this opening a lot of clarity for a lot of people who may have been confused on things in the past? Because, like I said, I realize I have a platform, I have a voice, and it's my duty because I've been in this forum for so long to make sure that I can correct us and put us on the right path. Sometimes we have kind of broken off and created like an alternate reality where you know, the stuff that we're talking about isn't. You're not going to get remedy, like I said, because your understanding of things is skewed. It's not correct, and I'm saying that with love. I'm not judging anybody or anything like that. Um, but let me see. So I'm just going to Facebook and see if the live stream is actually showing there as well. Okay, so it's there. I don't know if anyone has joined from there. And is everyone subscribed that is on here? Because that way you can make sure that you will see and get all notifications. I think I'm going to start being a little more active and getting on here and and just, I can't even say teach because I can't really teach law or anything like that, and what I'm not. So I'm going to say I'm here just educating you, or entertaining you. I'm an entertainer. Let's say that. Entertainer is pretty good. You can entertain people. Because I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice, but I like to entertain y'all. All right. So would you send the affidavit with the arbitration of missing referencing the Constitution? Um, Not really, because the arbitration is based on private contract and not Constitution. So the Constitution, it just how you said, it doesn't breathe within the walls of arbitration, because that one of the things that the Constitution alludes to is that Congress shall make no law obligating or impairing the rights of obligations of contracts. So if you're obligated on a contract, like law and stuff can't come in there and start, nah, this is not, because it has to be governed from the contract. And like I said, most contracts actually have a waiver clause in them, which makes it an unconscionable contract actually, because it's not in your favor. That says that you can't sue them, you can't demand a jury trial. And most times when we file, we do demand a jury trial. Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. All right, so I think I got to what I was trying to do on this video. Don't want to make it too long. I can't even tell how long it's been running. But I know if you make things too long, some people might not watch it. So I'm just going to keep this one brief. And I thank everyone for tuning in. Hopefully, you're all subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell so you can get all notifications. And again, I'll try to honor my word, try to get on here more, get some more new, just some new commentary. You're welcome, bro. It's a good place to start would be to take control of your assumed name with the Department of State once you have control of your assumed name. Um, so I think that it still might be a good thing to do, because I think I've actually won a few cases like that by recording the assumed name business, which is going to be your full legal name. If you have the money to do so, I would suggest doing it in different variations. Like I'll use an example. Let me see. All right, so I'll just use City Gal Melanie. So you would do one with City Gal Melanie. People ask questions, and sometimes I laugh, but I'm not gonna be cruel. But they'll be like, "Should I do it in all caps or lowercase or upper and lower? It doesn't matter." But it is still, because again, the name itself, the legal name, is not even you. But so you would do it Sedigal Melanie, then you would do it Melanie, so last name, first name, middle name. Then you would do it city, and then do G period Melanie. You would do it all variations that you would see them use it in commerce. So you would be blocking them from being able to use that. Back when I first learned this, we were only taught to just take do the one assumed name, which is your actual legal name that is on your birth certificate. Problem with that is now you'll start to notice that they'll just start addressing you by last name, first name, middle name. That solves that. They're like, okay, well, he got a lock on that, but we can do this. So yeah, as far as not having jurisdiction over your straw man, I have filed some cases and filed my assumed name certificate into the case, and yes, I got the case to go away, or I won the case. Understanding, ability, explain, and prove what they're doing wrong is key with this stuff. Absolutely. And that's why, like I said, I'm here to correct the thinking and thoughts that we had. That I see some people, like I said, they come to the consultation, I'm all ready and I'm prepared, ready to give them what I got. And then, like, I can't say like, did I feel bad? But I'm trying to explain exactly the feeling that I have is that I don't want somebody to get off a consultation and be like, "Oh man, this guy fraud, man. Like I thought he was gonna help me discharge stuff using my birth certificate and the bond and all the money that's in it." And it's like, if you listen to me or you follow me on social media, whether it be on YouTube or on my Facebook channel, um, you never hear me talking about that. So I'm like, why would you book a consultation? And especially like now, I try to give that question: what will we be consulting about? What would you like to learn? How can I help you? Once they start saying that, I usually, I'm very uh, I won't take the consultation, or I'll be like, I'll try to correct their thinking prior to the consultation. Right? But we can do the consultation, but I'm going to have to correct a lot of things that you're thinking so that you're on the right page, which is still helpful. Some people might not find that that was valuable. Like, oh man, I paid $150, and all he was telling me was like, oh, you're wrong, and all your guru told you, But it's going to help you in the long run if you don't fight it. So I get stuck on the head. I know just pick any one, but I'm stuck. Yeah, I see. I see people with that too, and like in a sense, what respect, like, it's people wasting my time. There's a long list of Hague list countries that's not a part of it, and literally, yeah, just pick one. Don't make it a thing. I mean, take a thing and spin a wheel and have it land on one. Boom, right on paper. You slowing yourself up. Just go with it. It's any country that is not a signatory to the Hague Convention. That's it. I'm not, unless you're gonna pay me. Like, not saying you in general, but I'm saying if someone having a problem, say, I just don't know which country has to pay. All right, well, let's get on the consultation. Let me get paid while so that way I don't feel I'm wasting time, and we'll go through it. But yeah, if anyone wants to book a consultation, again, I think the information is up here on my YouTube channel somewhere. I think I'm not sure where in the bio. I think, but you can contact me at mylife180 and send it. Just put in the what you call it. Um, Put in the subject line, consultation request from YouTube subscriber or something like that. But make sure you subscribe because I'm going to go and check. If you're not, um, I said, I may need you, bro. I have two coming up and I have a strong case. Just need to see what they can throw at me that I don't see. Cool. Again, I like to make sure I'm getting stuff I can actually help you because I feel better about that. It's not always about the money. Like, oh, I'm just get their money. No, if you're going to pay me, I want to make sure that I can deliver on it. So, things on Brandy. So Bryce, are you talking about that SEC case and something, or am I thinking about somebody else? Because I'm probably, like I said, I can do a consultation and give you guidance, but like I said, uh, they may pick your case up, and they may not. And again, I think more so they just do class actions, something that affect a bunch of consumers. Um, All right, so I guess I'm gonna get out of here, but hopefully, oh yeah, I can see the time right there. So it's almost at an hour, pretty long. Most times I look at the analytics and I see that people like just watch an average of like 1 minute or like a couple seconds or something like that. I'm like, man, people's attention span. But if it's something that you really want to learn, you really appreciate, hey, you're gonna take the time. Like I did my part. You know what I mean? I'm here for free. I'm not getting a paycheck for this. And I'm just putting this information up here so that, it's accessible. So make sure you share it on your platforms, man, on your page. Let people interact. Tell them to come subscribe. Say Ali's here with the heat and he about to start being back on like more consistent. Since I know, remember that you have a right to rescind any contract 72 hours. Yes, under the Truth in Lending Act. But you have to actually find that within the body of the truth in lending. It may not apply to all things, so just be mindful of that as well. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here though. Peace and light.